Ever wish therapy could, like, I don't know, adapt to how someone's feeling, like right there in the moment?
Yeah.
Well, that's the kind of future we're looking at today.
Uh-huh.
The future of ABA therapy, where AI is starting to make some serious
It
waves.
is.
We've got research, expert opinions, even a peek into what AI tools could look like down the line.
Wow.
Whether you're an RBT looking to level up or, a seasoned therapist searching for fresh ideas,
Right.
this deep dive is for you.
It really is a fascinating time to be in this field. We're
Yeah.
seeing a big shift in ABA, moving past some of the traditional methods that sometimes, focused a lot on compliance
Okay.
and breaking down skills into these tiny steps.
So just to set the stage for our listeners, what were some of the limitations of that older approach?
It could feel a bit rigid
Hmm.
sometimes, if I focused so much on just getting a certain behavior
Right.
instead of really understanding why it was happening.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
It wasn't always about, individual strengths or motivations. It was more like trying to fit everyone into the same mold.
Right. And that leads us to this exciting new wave of what they're calling experimental therapies.
Exactly.
And NDBI is a big one.
It is.
For our listeners who maybe aren't as familiar,
Sure.
can you unpack what NDBI is all about?
So NDBI, that stands for Naturalistic Developmental Behavioral Interventions.
Okay.
Think of it like this. Learning through play,
Uh-huh.
letting the child kind of lead the way, focusing on what they're already naturally interested in. It's more like how kids learn every day, right?
Yeah.
So imagine working on, communication skills while you're building a block tower.
Right.
Or teaching social skills while they're playing pretend.
Yeah.
It's just a lot more engaging and motivating.
Yeah. Especially for younger kids.
Absolutely.
Definitely sounds more fun than flashcards, I have to say.
Ah.
And it fits really well with the whole strengths-based approach, right?
Yes.
Which is about building on, like, what people are already good at.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that's so empowering.
It really is. When you focus on strengths, you're building confidence,
Right.
self-esteem.
Yeah.
And that can, translate to success in so many areas.
Makes sense.
It's about, the whole person,
Yeah.
not just the behaviors we're trying to, change.
Yeah, so instead of just trying to get rid of challenging behaviors,
Right.
you're trying to build a foundation
Yeah.
of, like, skills and confidence
Mm-hmm.
for them to, really thrive.
Absolutely.
Makes a lot of sense.
And then you have this other interesting area,
Okay.
bringing mindfulness and, emotional regulation into ABA.
Interesting.
This is all about giving people the tools to manage their emotions.
Okay.
Self-awareness and coping skills, and this can be so beneficial.
It's like ABA meets meditation, right? That's an interesting combo.
It is.
I'm sure our listeners will be intrigued by that.
Yeah.
But before we get too zen here,
Right.
let's talk about something that's a game changer for a lot of people.
Okay.
AAC, Augmentative and Alternative Communication.
Yes.
For people with communication challenges,
Uh-huh.
this is life-changing.
It is.
And AI is making AAC even more powerful, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
AI is being used to create AAC systems that are more intuitive, more personalized than ever.
Wow.
Like, imagine systems that can predict what a user needs,
Okay.
offer word suggestions,
Uh-huh.
even learn from their communication patterns to get better over time.
That's incredible.
It is.
It sounds like we're moving towards a future where communication barriers are really, really minimized.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about these exciting new approaches to therapy,
Yeah.
but let's get down to the tools.
Okay.
What are some AI-powered tools that, therapists and RBTs can actually use right now, like in their day-to-day?
Well, one that comes to mind is CNSapp.
Okay.
It's a platform really streamlines so many things in ABA therapy.
Like what?
Think data management, tracking behaviors during sessions, even generating IEPs.
Wow, so instead of all those spreadsheets and notes,
Right.
therapists can have it all in one place, organized.
Exactly. And it's all AI driven.
What does that look like in practice?
So CNSapp can analyze assessment data, figure out what the needs are,
Okay.
and then, suggest goals and objectives that are actually tailored to the individual.
Wow, so it's like it's taking the guesswork out of it
Yes.
and making sure the goals are, data-driven.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not just about paperwork.
Right.
I imagine CNSapp has tools for during therapy sessions too, right?
Absolutely.
Like what?
One of the coolest things is that you can track behaviors and triggers right there in real time.
Oh, wow.
So let's say you're working with someone on, reducing tantrums. You can use CNSapp to record each tantrum,
Okay.
the antecedents,
Oh, great.
what happened before, and the consequences, what happened after.
So it's like having a digital detective, basically.
Yeah, helping you figure out why a behavior is happening.
And then you can use that information to create better interventions.
Exactly. You analyze that data, you start to see the patterns
Right.
and figure out what's really working.
Okay, that's really cool.
It is.
It's not just CNSapp, though, right?
Right.
There are other AI tools out there.
There are.
Tell me about this custom AI assistant I keep hearing about.
Okay, so these AI assistants, they're like, a personal assistant just for therapists.
Oh, wow.
Imagine an AI that can, summarize reports for you, set reminders for sessions,
Okay.
even coach you on different interventions.
Wait, coach you. So if I'm an RBT and I'm not really sure how to do something,
Exactly.
I could get help from this AI assistant.
It's like having a virtual mentor right in your pocket.
I like that.
And the best part is they're constantly learning, evolving.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
It's like having this personalized support system. Speaking of support systems,
Yeah.
I want to talk about Google NotebookLM.
Okay.
This has been a game changer for me personally in terms of, organization.
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever felt overwhelmed
Oh,
by all the notes, assessments, treatment plans,
It's a lot.
NotebookLM is for you.
It is. It's a fantastic tool for organizing all of that.
Yeah.
But it does more than that. It uses AI
Okay.
to summarize key findings,
Uh-huh.
identify trends,
Okay.
even answer questions you have about the data.
So it's like a research assistant, basically.
Yeah.
That can go through a video.
Can you give me an example of how a therapist would use this?
Sure. So imagine you're working with a client and they've been having some challenging behaviors. You've been, taking good notes during sessions.
Right. Keeping track of everything.
Yeah.
You upload all those notes into NotebookLM. And then you can ask it things like, what are the most common triggers? Or what interventions have been most effective?
Okay.
And NotebookLM will actually analyze that data and give you the answers.
So instead of, spending hours digging through your notes,
Exactly.
you can get those insights quickly.
Yeah.
That's a game changer.
It is. It frees up so much time and energy.
Yeah.
So you can focus on, actually helping your clients.
Speaking of tools that save time and make life easier, we have to talk about ChatGPT.
Of course.
Everyone's talking about it.
Yes.
What are some ways RBTs can actually use it?
ChatGPT is really versatile
Okay.
when it comes to ABA.
Like how?
For example, it can generate what we call social stories.
Okay, break that down for me.
Okay. So imagine you're working with a kid who has trouble sharing toys. You can use ChatGPT to make a personalized story about sharing, using their name, their favorite toys, even details about their classroom.
So instead of spending all this time creating them,
All right.
RBTs can have ChatGPT do it in minutes.
Exactly.
What else?
It can also help you create scripts to practice social interactions.
Okay.
So let's say you're working with a teenager learning how to order food at a restaurant. You can use ChatGPT to make a script that outlines each step,
Oh, that's a good idea.
from greeting the server
Right.
all the way to paying the bill.
It's like having a personal dialogue coach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it can help with more than just social skills.
Okay.
It can also help develop, reinforcement systems.
Real.
Like ChatGPT can help design what we call token economy systems,
All right.
which are a popular way to reinforce positive behaviors.
And so you can just tell ChatGPT about the client, their goals, what motivates them,
Exactly.
and it'll create a system.
Yes, a customized one that you can, start using right away.
Yeah. So RBTs can really focus on the actual interventions
Right.
instead of spending time on logistics.
Exactly.
I want to move beyond the hypothetical, though.
Sure.
How about some real-world examples
Okay.
of AI in action?
So one example I think of is using both CNSapp and Google NotebookLM
Okay.
for FBAs,
Huh?
functional behavior assessments.
Right, which are key to understanding why a behavior happens.
Exactly. It's not just about stopping it, but like you said, understanding the root of it.
Right.
So in this example, a therapist is working with a child who has, frequent meltdowns at school. They're using CNSapp to really track the behavior,
Okay.
noting what happens before, during, and after the meltdown.
Right, like that digital detective we talked about.
Precisely. And all that data is then uploaded into Google NotebookLM, which organizes it beautifully.
But it doesn't just organize it, right?
Right.
It analyzes it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
The therapist can ask questions like, what are the most common things that happen before a meltdown? Or what are the best interventions we've tried?
Okay.
And NotebookLM can give data-backed answers.
That's amazing.
It leads to more effective interventions.
It's like taking the guesswork out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you also have CNSapp for tracking progress.
Fair.
Measuring how well interventions are working. So let's say a therapist is working on improving transitioning skills.
Okay.
Maybe moving from one activity to another without getting upset.
Right.
CNSapp can track how the client does during each transition.
So it's like a real-time scorecard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the cool part.
Okay.
It's not just tracking. CNSapp uses AI to analyze the data, and then it gives you feedback on what's working,
Oh, yeah.
what might need to change, and even suggest new strategies based on how the client is doing.
It's like a virtual coach.
It is.
Okay, that is really cool.
It is.
But what about collaboration between,
Yes.
therapists, caregivers, educators?
You're right. AI can play a huge role there.
Yeah.
And CNSapp, again, is really good at this.
Okay.
Imagine a parent, therapist, and teacher
Yeah.
all have access to the same platform.
Right.
They can share updates in real time
That's
on
incredible.
the client's progress, behavior, interventions.
No more phone tag.
Exactly.
That's a game changer for consistency.
It is.
Everyone's on the same page.
Yes.
Working together using the same data.
Absolutely.
This is all so fascinating.
It is.
But I know there's so much more to uncover
Oh, yeah.
about the future of AI in ABA.
Absolutely.
Let's take a quick break.
Yeah.
When we come back, we'll dive into some of the emerging technologies
Sounds good.
that are going to, revolutionize this field even further.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Okay. It really is amazing to think, how much is already happening with AI in ABA. And we're just getting started.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive into some of those emerging technologies.
Okay, great.
You mentioned VR, virtual reality. Honestly, it still feels a bit like sci-fi to me.
I know, right?
How could VR be used in ABA therapy?
Well, think about it. VR can create these really realistic simulations for training, for therapists, RBTs.
Like how so?
Imagine practicing your skills in a virtual environment.
Right.
That feels like a real therapy session.
Oh, wow.
You could encounter all kinds of different scenarios.
Okay.
Practice interventions, even get feedback.
Oh, from the system itself?
Yes, personalized feedback.
Wow. So instead of just reading about, how to handle a meltdown,
Right.
you can actually experience it.
Yeah, in a safe environment.
Right. A controlled setting.
Exactly. And for RBTs who are just starting out, that could be so valuable.
Yeah, I can see that.
It can help them, build confidence,
I see.
competence much faster.
Makes sense. And it's not just for new RBTs, right?
No, not at all.
VR could be used for, ongoing training.
Absolutely. Professional development.
Keep everyone up to date.
Exactly.
It's like leveling up in a video game,
Right.
but for therapy.
I like that analogy.
What other, futuristic tech is out there?
Well, one that's really interesting is emotion recognition AI.
Okay, that one does sound like something out of a movie.
It does, doesn't it?
How would that even work in therapy?
So imagine, you're in a session and the AI can actually tell if the client is getting frustrated or anxious.
Before they even say anything.
Even before, maybe, they show any outward signs.
How is that possible?
It analyzes facial expressions, vocal tone,
Wow.
even things like heart rate.
Okay, so it's picking up on these subtle cues.
Yeah.
And then what? What happens with that information?
The therapist could adjust their approach,
Okay.
maybe offer a break, change the activity,
Right.
provide more support.
So it's like having this extra layer of awareness.
Yeah, like an extra set of eyes.
In the session.
Exactly. And especially for clients who, have trouble communicating their emotions.
Right, like maybe verbally.
It could be really groundbreaking.
I can imagine, for individuals with autism.
Yes.
Who sometimes struggle with that.
Exactly. It could change everything.
It's incredible to think, like how much more we could understand
Right.
about our clients
Mm-hmm.
if we had that kind of insight.
Absolutely. And how much more effectively we could, tailor our interventions.
Emotion recognition AI is still pretty new though, right?
It is. It's still in the early stages.
Okay.
There's a lot to figure out, with the technology itself and ethically too.
Right. There are always ethical considerations,
Of course.
but the potential it's huge.
It is definitely something to watch.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So bringing it back to the tools that are already out there.
Okay.
We've talked about CNSapp, Google, NotebookLM, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But like overall, what's the big impact of AI on ABA therapy?
I think the biggest thing is the shift towards truly personalized therapy.
Yeah.
AI allows us to gather so much data
Right.
about each person
Yeah.
and then use that to create treatment plans that are truly individualized.
So it's not just about making things more efficient or like, getting rid of paperwork.
Right.
It's about changing how we approach therapy itself.
Exactly. Moving
Yeah.
away from those one-size-fits-all
I
interventions
see what you mean.
and towards this truly individualized care.
That's really exciting.
It is. It means we can potentially help more people
Mm-hmm.
achieve more.
That's a powerful thought.
It is.
It really shows the potential of AI in this field.
Absolutely.
But with all this talk about the future,
Right.
I think it's good to like ground ourselves in the present.
Sure.
What can therapists and RBTs do like right now to start using AI?
I think that the most important thing is to just start exploring
Okay.
the tools that are out there. There
Yeah.
are so many great resources.
Like the ones we've been discussing.
Exactly. Spend some time with ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
Play around with Google NotebookLM.
Okay.
Check out platforms like CNSapp.
You don't have to become an expert overnight.
No.
Just you get familiar with what's out there.
Yeah, see how these tools can be used.
So dive in, get your hands dirty,
Exactly.
see what works for you.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
Okay, so you've dipped your toes in.
Right.
How do you stay up to date?
That's a good question.
Because this field it's moving so fast.
It is. The pace of innovation is incredible.
Yeah.
I would say go to conferences,
Mm-hmm.
webinars,
Mm-hmm.
read articles, research papers,
Right?
and connect with other professionals.
Yeah, who are already using AI.
Exactly. There are some great online communities
Absolutely.
where people share their experiences.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a great way to learn.
So it's about being a lifelong learner,
Yes,
staying curious,
absolutely.
and knowing that things are going to keep changing.
Always evolving.
Speaking of evolution,
Yeah.
what's your long-term vision
Of
for
it.
AI in ABA? Like, where do you see this going
Mhm.
in the next 5-10 years?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think we're just scratching the surface of
What-
what's possible.
Yeah.
In the future, I see AI being even more involved
Okay.
in assessment, planning, tracking progress,
Right.
even professional development.
So it's really going to touch every aspect
I think so.
of ABA therapy.
Yeah, we'll have tools that can, analyze all that data
Mhm.
to find patterns,
Right.
predict outcomes,
Wow.
suggest really individualized plans,
That's incredible.
and, AI assistants that can
Mhm.
help with everything
Yeah.
from scheduling to coaching on interventions.
It sounds like we're moving toward a future where AI is it's seamlessly integrated
Right.
into everything.
Yeah.
But even with all of that, I
Right.
think it's important to remember
Mm-hmm.
that technology is a tool.
Uh,
The heart of ABA therapy is still that human connection.
It is.
The empathy,
Yes.
the commitment to helping people.
I couldn't agree more.
Those are things that AI, it can't replicate.
It can't.
So it's about using these tools
Mm.
to enhance our abilities,
Yes.
not replace them.
Exactly.
Well, we've covered a lot today,
We have.
from those experimental therapies
Mhm.
to like the cutting edge of AI.
It's been a great conversation.
It has. It's been fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners,
Yes.
thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the future of ABA therapy.
Absolutely.
I hope you found it informative, inspiring, and thought-provoking.
Absolutely.
If you're an ABA professional
Mhm.
and you're looking to stay ahead of the curve,
Right.
embrace AI.
Yes.
We encourage you to explore
Absolutely.
the tools and resources we've talked about and connect with other professionals who are, passionate about innovation.
I agree.
The future it's bright.
It is.
And it's up to all of us to
Yeah.
shape it into something truly extraordinary.
I agree.
It really is amazing to think about how far ABA therapy has come
It is.
and how much potential there is for the future.
Absolutely. And as we move forward with all these advancements, I think it's really important to keep a few things in mind.
Okay, like what are some key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, I think the biggest one is to approach AI with a balanced perspective.
Okay.
These technologies, they can be incredibly powerful,
Right.
but they're not magic.
Right. It's not about replacing human expertise.
Exactly.
It's about finding that balance between tech and human connection.
The human element is always going to be at the heart of this.
Yeah. Granted.
Building those relationships with clients, understanding their needs, providing that empathy and support.
Those are things AI can't do.
It can't replicate that.
So it's about using these tools to help us to make us better.
To augment our ability.
Yeah, not to replace us.
Exactly. And of course there are ethical considerations.
Of course,
With
yes.
any new technology, we
Yeah.
have to use AI responsibly.
Responsibly and ethically.
Yes, that means making sure data is private, protecting confidentiality,
Yeah.
and being aware of, potential biases.
Right. So it's not just about, grabbing the newest, shiniest tool.
No, not at all.
It's about using it the right way,
Yes.
in a way that benefits our clients.
Exactly. We have a responsibility to use these tools to help everyone
That's a great point.
and not create more barriers.
That's a really powerful message.
It is.
As we wrap up this drift dive,
Mm-hmm.
is there anything else you want to share?
I think just, the future is full of possibilities. If you're an ABA professional,
Yeah.
embrace the innovation, stay
Yeah.
curious,
Mm-hmm.
be part of shaping this new landscape.
I love that.
Yeah.
And to our listeners,
Yes,
we hope you found this exploration valuable.
I hope so.
Remember, the future it's in our hands.
It is.
Let's use these powerful tools to create a world where everyone can thrive.
I agree, absolutely.